So communism is still alive and relevant, but it's actually more relevant today than most people have really given it consideration. So Klaus Schwab talks about you own nothing, be happy. Karl Marx said abolition of private property. So it's the same thing. Marx said we'll take over the means of production. Klaus Schwab says it's a public-private partnership and we'll just control everything. And so it's alive and well. Now, the one thing that Alex said before he handed over the reins to us is that things are getting bad. Things are getting urgent. It's accelerating, and it certainly is. Part of the reason why it's accelerating is because as this control starts slipping, they have to squeeze even harder.
Exactly.
So if we look at a parallel in history, I think there's lots of parallels for different parts of it. But in the 1500s, the church and state had monopoly and power and control over the people. But 70 years earlier, the Gutenberg printing press came out. It was a new technology that unleashed a decentralized information. And as the church started to lose its grip on the narrative, because people were getting the information, they had to squeeze harder. Mm-hmm. So they said, hey, we're losing grip. So what are we going to do? We have to fight back. Well, let's squeeze even harder. Let's say that anybody talks out is a heretic and we'll kill them. And then as that happened, then more people saw that, and these martyrs then led to more people wanting to push back, and then the state had to squeeze even harder. And it's this equal and opposite force kind of thing.
And the funny thing is, as they squeeze harder, I think of this like holding something slippery, you know, like that slippery goo stuff that the kids have, the Play-Doh. And the harder you actually squeeze it, the more it slips. Yeah. And you actually, they create the counterforce. And this is something interesting. I want to read here. We've got a quote in our book from our friend Comrade Lenin.
So Comrade Lenin, someone we shouldn't be quoting, but this quote is more relevant today than any time before, and it's important. Let's go for it.
The best way to destroy the capitalist system is to debauch the currency. By a continuing process of inflation, governments can confiscate secretly and unobserved.
So just pause there for a second. To destroy the capitalist system. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people think that we live in capitalism today, that capitalism was good, but now it's bad. But he said to destroy it. If we want to destroy it, we have to debauch the currency or destroy the currency. So if we want to destroy capitalism, destroy the currency. And how do we do that? We do that through secret confiscation or secret theft, and that's through inflation. By increasing the money supply, we secretly steal, and by secretly stealing, we destroy the currency, and by destroying the currency, we destroy capitalism.
Well, and here's the second part of the quote, right? By this method, they not only confiscate, but they confiscate arbitrarily, and while the process impoverishes many, it actually enriches some.
Right.
So that's exactly what we were talking about earlier, right?
So it confiscates arbitrarily, meaning who they choose to affect. Mm-hmm. We want to get this person and
by
not
decree.
That person. Arbitrarily, and most people become impoverished, but the few...
Yep. It actually enriches some.
Yeah. And then read the last part of that quote.
So as the inflation proceeds and the real value of the currency fluctuates wildly from month to month, all permanent relations between debtors and creditors, which form the ultimate foundation of capitalism, become so utterly distorted as to be almost meaningless. And the process of wealth getting degenerates into a gamble and a lottery.
That's the last part right there. So the process of wealth getting. So we all should be trying to build wealth in our own lives. Wealth is our life battery. Wealth is my ability to have calories or to live without having to make daily gains. And so I have cows. Those cows could allow me to live for a year off the food. I have a house that provides me shelter. So that's my wealth. And so it says the process of getting wealth or getting assets turns into a gamble.
Gamble. I mean, it's all over TV. People are gambling with houses. You know, they're building them, they're flogging them, and they think they're getting rich. But what's happening is actually the purchasing power of the money is actually depreciating. And couple that with a rush towards assets because nobody's saving anymore.
At the end of last year, we saw that we had the record amount of job quits, people leaving their jobs to leave the workforce. We saw a record broken, another record broken, another record broken. And where were most of these people quitting their jobs to go? They were going to trade options on Robinhood and trade cryptocurrencies. So gambling was the best form of getting wealthy. Now, that kind of frames up where we're at. As Alex Jones was saying before he left, things are really deteriorating at a rapid rate. Now, look. I think hopefully one thing Alex tries to promote as much as the fear that's out there, and we should be fearful because things are urgent, but there's also massive hope. Okay, and so let's end this on a message of hope, because we got the table and we're going to say what we want to say. And I want to leave everybody here with hope, because I believe that we win. I believe there's hope and prosperity for my kids and my grandkids, and I feel good about that.